of you to read to page 35 in the U.S. History book, and let's talk about it a little bit.
A common misunderstanding about ASL interpreters is that they only provide communication access for deaf or hard of hearing students, when in reality they provide access for hearing people to communicate with a deaf person too.
An interpreter is there to benefit hearing people just as much as they are to benefit deaf people in a variety of settings.
USDB staff interpreters serve the adult staff population of USDB. They work with these staff members in daily and in community-based meetings, board meetings, IEP meetings, and other activities our deaf staff want to professionally participate in. Staff interpreters also provide video interpretation services for existing content, USDB created content, and virtual webinars. These services are as individualized as our staff in a variety of professional settings and locations. We also assist teachers by interpreting videos and other content that the students access. This could be adding an interpretation overlay or captioning. In addition, the USDB interpreting team has filmed several popular novels and books for educational content.
USDB provides interpreting services to students and adults. These interpreting services provide accessibility in the classroom to over 350 students.
The majority of interpreters at USDB are educational interpreters. These interpreters provide educational services to students in mainstream schools and students on a USDB campus. Other settings include the homes of families for deaf and hard of hearing children with our parent-infant program, after-school programming, school events, sports, and field trips. USDB coordinates with educational teams to allow for interpreting services that match the needs of each student we serve.
Interpreting services are provided on an as-needed basis. If a student requires an interpreter in the classroom, we provide a full-time interpreter for the student each school day.
For remote students, interpreting services are provided through a Zoom platform. These students are given an iPad that they take from class to class and set on their desks for interpretation.
Although this is not ideal, this allows USDB to provide services to a student who would otherwise have no access to an interpreter.
USDB provides interpreting services for deaf and hard of hearing students that attend school at USDB locations throughout the state or in the student's local school.
If a student attends a USDB campus and elects to take a class at a local public school, interpreting services would be provided. In addition, we provide interpreting services for extracurricular activities.
Communication is such an important part of our daily lives. It is natural for us to want to understand and be understood by others. For our students who are deaf and hard of hearing, communication with those who are not familiar with American Sign Language can be difficult, frustrating, and at times impossible.
Our educational interpreters bridge that communication gap by helping our students, their educators, and their peers understand each other. Without the assistance of a sign language interpreter, our students would not be able to access their educational environment.
Besides the legal requirement to provide an interpreter for deaf and hard of hearing students, there is an ethical responsibility to make sure that our students are in an accessible environment.
For these students in a mainstream setting, having access to an educational interpreter is vital to their success.
Imagine taking a class in a language you don't know. You would be required to pass assessments to complete the course. It would be frustrating, overwhelming, and impossible to compete with those who are familiar with the language. We care too much about our deaf students to let that be their reality.